because as I said, Dr. Sameer Parekh needs no introduction at all. Especially he's part of an extended IPN family, if I can take that liberty and say. So Dr. Sameer Parekh, I welcome you once again to IPN session. In fact, we are doing a month-long mental well-being series with Fortis Mental Health Group program. Dr. Parekh is actually the national chair for that Fortis National Mental Health Program, where Fortis, obviously people from the north would know the Fortis Healthcare is a brand which everyone knows in the north. People in the south, west or east, Fortis is a very, very credible brand. And Dr. Parekh, more than that, for me is a dear friend, and he, without even hesitating once, actually has committed full month, which is every week we will be taking one resource from his team, and he'll be interacting with all of you. So without any further ado, firstly, a warm welcome to all of you. We will, to be very honest with you, it will be very difficult to take up questions and answers. So I can, and if you see, even I have disabled the chat, so there is no chat as such. So what we'll eventually do is that if you will have questions, which we will obviously take up at the last, but sadly, we will be able to take only handful of them. So if your question gets left out, I'll be the fall guy, not the Dr. Saab. Okay. So having said this, I pass it on to Dr. Sameer Parekh. Over to you, sir.
A warm hello to all of you. Difficult times, very, 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 very difficult times. And that's the truth of our times, right? Just before coming here, I was speaking on a different platform, and I was saying that acceptance is a mature defense mechanism. So for us to say everything is fine, everything will suddenly become fine, that's not true. There is anguish, there is distress, there is anxiety, there is stress, there is panic. There is a lot of bereavement and grief. These are difficult times for a society. That we have to accept. Until we accept that aspect, we will not deal with it. And we also need to accept that until we start learning from each of our experiences, in future, we will continue to struggle. The reason may be one or another. So I think that has to be, before we start this conversation of how to deal with our stress, accept it. Now, when I say accept it, I need all of us to understand between what is distress and what is an illness. I am not talking about illness. I am not saying illnesses are rising, and here I mean mental illnesses. I'm not saying illnesses will rise. We'll know with time, the data when it happens. But please be clear. Please be very, very clear. Distress in times of this kind of pandemic is a natural, normal human response. So if I am distressed because somebody at home is not well, or I'm distressed because I'm going through some financial issues, or I'm distressed because I've lost a loved one, that doesn't mean I need meds. That doesn't mean I need professional help. All that means is, like any other human in this struggle of mine, I need my people to come together. So both the acceptance and the solution have a collective as a meaning, is something we need to understand. The collective is the solution. There is no solution except the collective. Grief is an individual experience, but when a society goes through a grief like what we are going through, we are several hundred of us here. Probably all of us have had somebody close enough whom we've lost. Colleague, friend, alumni, neighbor, extended family, some acquaintance, but somebody or the other. So we're all going through a process here. In that process, for me to give you 5 takeaways and 5 tips as a quick fix solution is absolutely insensitive and rubbish. How is that possible? If I am at a loss, there is no abracadabra happening here. I'm a human being. You prick me, blood comes out. So that's a natural process. So let's split this conversation in a few parts. Part number 1 is let's start from responsibility. And let's forget blaming for a while. Let's imagine a world in a very utopian tangent that blame is not allowed. Self-evaluation is allowed, blame is not allowed. Yes, there should be accountability for failures. Accountability for failures when the crisis is over, not during the crisis. During the crisis, all hands on the deck to avert the crisis. The single approach to life, avert the crisis. Nothing else matters. So self-evaluation is, first wave happened, we behaved ourselves remarkably well. Numbers dipped, we lost our guard. Collectively, we lost our guard. Accept it. You don't have or need the government to come to your house and put your mask on. That's not the government's job. It was our own job. You don't need the government coming to your house and saying that, listen, can you avoid having a wedding and calling 300 people? So if we were told that have 25 people, you don't call 50 people. It's math. So let's accept the fact that we have also failed ourselves, which basically means let's learn from this devastation. We don't know the future. What if years down the lane a different pandemic comes? What if there are other waves? None of us knows. These are uncertain, evolving, changing times. But surely we can learn that what happened this time is not repeated. How do you do that? Yes, of course, we make our infrastructure better. We make sure meds are available. We make sure other support systems are available. Healthcare is stronger. Of course, we do that. But what about individual self? The responsibility of self. So for me, managing anxiety starts with the responsible self. Let's learn from our mistakes. Let's promise ourselves we will not repeat them. Step 1. The part 2 of accountability, self-accountability, or part 2 of responsibility is, what do you do now? So let me first start with what you don't do now. If at your home you don't have anybody having an illness, and I hope all of the homes very soon become like that, can you please not keep medications which are not meant for you? Can you please not keep oxygen which is not meant for you? We are all aware that at war footing, healthcare, public sector, private sector, NGO sector, civil society, governments, everybody is working to pump up the supplies. We all are aware of it, which means gradually lot better supplies are bound to happen. So if I am to get an illness in, let's say, 15 days, 10 days, the situation is going to be better, not worse. Which means I don't need an oxygen cylinder at home today. Because if I keep it at home today, I'm taking somebody else's life. For a hypothetical situation that I might have in the future, I cannot allow myself to use any defense, any rationalization. It's not being a human. Responsibility starts with the self. So yes, what you do is you ensure, as I speak, that we will be responsible. You want to deal with stress and anxiety, first bring responsibility. And one more component of the responsibility, which is your immediate milieu, just your family or your colleagues based on your profile. And young people, peers, your friends. This is your immediate milieu. What do you do here? For all you young people, I've been doing these workshops that I'm calling peer to pillar. It was your best friend who convinced you to bunk once. It was your best friend who helped you to finish your homework once upon a time when you used to go to school in buses. It was a best friend who passed you an answer sheet. All this has happened in your lives. Now it's your turn. All of you best friends and friends forever and best friends forever and all the other terms that you use, which I don't understand, become pillars for each other. What does it mean? Today I might be having a great day. You're having a bad one. I'll be your pillar. I'll give you positivity. I'll absorb you. Tomorrow, it may be role reversal. You take care of me. Become a pillar, a strength of togetherness and virtues both. So if I'm crossing a line, you tell me don't do this. So peer to pillar for young people. For all parents, your role is to ensure that you keep positivity at your home. No arguments, no criticism. For parents here right now, how much academics, how many online classes, what is the status of homework? There's so much more. Right now, what is your priority? Is the child happy? Non-anxious? Feeling cheerful enough? Having a healthy routine? Enough. We have years and years to work upon other things. I was asked by a young parent today that my young kid is watching a lot of digital. What do I do? Is the child having fun? Yes. Then please let it be. I have campaigned for digital detox for past several years. This is not the time. You are in the four walls of your home. The only thing that you have is a digital interface. Might as well do it. Anything that keeps you going, anything that keeps you positive. So as parents, that's what your role is. For all you people who have senior citizens at home, talk to them. Spend time. They are also going through very, very difficult times because their routines are affected. They know their vulnerability, and all of us have fear of the illness. To accept it. So you make your milieu a positive experience for all of us. Conversations, a bit of cheerfulness amongst the room, sharing, comforting. That's the home environment. That's the peer environment. That's the work environment. And yes, of course, share productivity. Young people, share the workload of your parents at home. Not easy times for them. A lot of pressure of work. A lot of pressures of work from home. Lots of various kinds of pressures on them. Take a bit of responsibilities. Pick your favorite chores, but do that. Don't make them come to you and say, do this. You say, what can I do? That's the hallmark of togetherness. Togetherness starts from home. It's like a football team, isn't it? I mean, if you have somebody who's about to score a goal in a position, and then you are standing in the midfield and you want the goal scored, you're not going to run from here to there. You'll pass the ball. So pass the ball. This time, accept the ball. And I do feel that's something you can do. Adding on to that, let me add one more thing for young people. You know, I know, there's a lot of social media happening. Yeah. I'm not even going to start a conversation on don't do this and don't do that. Then you will say that I've come from a different planet. There's no point, right? How about using it in the right way? Just use it in the right way. Don't cyberbully. Don't troll. don't put any negative comments. In fact, whenever you see somebody putting any negative comment, tell them, okay, can you please wait for a few months? You open the window, there is negativity. You open news, there is negativity. You open a social media platform, there is negativity. You open a status update, there is negativity. I mean, surely there is enough in there. No, don't add more. How about spread some positivity, spread some positive stories? They're all around us. Each one of us, if we are given an opportunity to start speaking right now about one good thing that you've seen in the last 3 days or 4 days, we'll have stories. Share them. What's the point of just losing a track of our dignity in communication in the public space? What kind of a world do we want children to grow up in? Where abuses and unnecessary criticism and name calling and trolling can be a norm. That's not true. And it's still a very, very handful of people who do not probably, have forgotten what kindergarten rules were. It's just that they speak more. If we speak more, it won't be noticed. So all of you, adults, be on social media. Because young people are there. You have to be where they are. Rather than asking them to be where you are. That doesn't work. Educationists, if social media and digital interface is the place where everybody is going for information, redefine what textbooks are. You also need to be present in the space where information sharing is happening. I was speaking about this just half an hour back. Somebody will send a message on one of the social media channels saying XYZ is good for health, Y is not good, something about vaccine or something about medication, 100,000 followers, 100,000 views, and everybody knows it's factually incorrect. How do you correct it? You surely can't find that person and tell the person, listen, this is foolish. What you do is correct it. Put more right information out there, and before you share anybody's information, like anybody's information, can you verify the source? Surely you can do that. In school, you go to the physics teacher to ask questions on physics. You don't go to the Hindi teacher to ask about physics. You don't ask your best batsman to bowl in the final overs. You ask your best bowler to bowl in the final overs. There are experts for everything. Read what they say. Verified resources, verified communication, verified. That's media literacy for all of us. So be media literate. So that's also a part of responsibility, that it's on us, all of us, to ensure we instill positivity in the world by means of what we have. We have our words. And you don't need to be cliche and superficial and conformative. Be who you are, say what you feel, and then write it, share it, spread it. Ask yourself a question. Are you fighting against COVID? Are you with COVID? Your each action, your each gesture, your each word, your each thought, your each text, your each post needs to be to win the battle against COVID. If any action can make it worse, including negativity, false information, hoarding, then you are not against COVID, you are supporting it, which means you are making it stronger, breaking the chain. Rather than that, you are building the chain, which means it will reach your home if it has not already done that. And if it's just gone, touch your home and gone away, that doesn't mean it's gone. It can just take a U-turn from the next corner and come back. So we need to do this. There is no substitute of this. We absolutely need to do this. Be very, very, very clear about this. So to manage anxiety, we started with acceptance of anxiety as a normal reaction. Then we talk about how do we do that? Become responsible, including COVID appropriate behavior, social appropriate behavior, being against COVID in a togetherness sense, and the peer to pillar, that strength of families, of communities, of societies, all of that you do. Moving on from there, how do you reduce anxiety? Filter for positive inspirational stories. There are so many of them, and share them. 20 years down the lane, young people, some of you very, very young, I can see you here. You'll look back and tell these stories, won't you? But people may not believe it, that everybody was wearing a mask, that you couldn't go out without a mask. And how everybody did this and did that, and how people supported their families, and how people supported their friends, and how healthcare workers worked day in and day out, and how people did this sharing, and how people did that. This is an opportunity to be inspired. Share more and more and more positive stories, as many as you can, as many as they come. That's also dealing with anxiety. Moving on from there, what can you do in a more individual space? Try to have a lifestyle that is balanced. I know it is going to be tough, but try it. Try to ensure you do some physical activity within the premises of safety. Try and do some breathing exercises, yoga, pranayama. Enough evidence, do it. Make sure your eating habits are fine. Make sure you sleep on time. Make sure you take some me time. Me time would be whatever you like. Me time and us time. Us time for family and friends, me time for you. And do that. And if you are struggling, unmute yourself. Talk to someone. That talk doesn't have to be a counselor, doesn't have to be an expert. Anybody, just talk to someone. I have told you, anxiety is natural. We're all experiencing it. So today I may be struggling. If I talk to you, I feel fine. Tomorrow you'll struggle. I will talk, you'll be fine. That's how you create a chain of support. To break the chain of COVID, you create a chain of support, which is more powerful, more meaningful, more connected. And that's what you do. So you support each other, but you open up. If you're struggling, talk to your family, friends, a senior, talk to someone and help each other come out of it. There is nothing to panic. If we approach this in an ethical, value-based, responsible manner and go one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, don't be rattled by an uncertain future. Don't allow the future's uncertainty to get under our skin. We will tide through this. That's something we need to understand. So for students who have board exams, before you ask me that question, right now prepare for an exam in June. If it gets, anything happens to it, tab dekhenge, we'll think about it. Right now, do that. Please don't tell me you feel demotivated. I don't like the word. This is your life, your path for success, and it's everybody in the same boat. It's not that somebody got a chance to give the exam and you've not got it. The whole batch across the country is going through the same thing. And safety first, your family, your own life, safety first. So you maintain your motivation. This is in any case a dream come true for the more younger lot. I mean, you're taking your first class from in your bed in pajamas. Yeah, but you do the present, yes, present karke, and then you just switch off your camera. You think that all the teachers and parents don't know? They all know it. They'll be nice to you and kind to you. Koi baat nahi. No, half an hour extra sleep, koi baat nahi. I've always believed ethics are for oneself. You know, when I take my sessions of internship and all for students, and they ask me, what about attendance? I said, I don't do it. You appeared, you want to learn. I've given you, No, if you attend or not attend at your age, I'm not going to run after you and say, oh, itna percentage nahi aaya, tum itne baje aaya, itne baje nahi aaya. Learning is for you, you decide. That's life, huh? That's how maturity also happens. That's how you grow in life. So that's what you do. So yes. So how do you, let's put all of this together before I start taking questions. Right? We accept the fact that distress is a natural human reaction. To solve that, we talk to each other. We become pillars of support. I've been using this hashtag be there. Be there for someone you care for. Be there. And unmute yourself. Keep talking. In fact, for parents, encourage children to talk more. Encourage children to make more phone calls. Encourage children to talk to their friends even more, even more. Now the parent should be saying, why have you not talked to your friends in the past 1 hour? Go get up and talk to your friend. That's what a parent should be saying. And the student should be saying, the child should be saying, I've talked so much now, I don't want to talk. Create that situation. Because it's those talks which are going to create the chain of connectedness to beat the chain of the virus. You take self-care, all of us take self-care, but we be responsible, COVID appropriate behavior with responsibility, please. No hoarding, no panic, no negativity, no trolling, no incorrect information. There are people struggling like all of us are at different levels. Let's be pillars of support. We be there. You want to manage stress? We realize there are no I's, there are only V's. So you create the perception of we, that nobody feels that it's an I. That's an I. None of us is an I. We are we. So that's how you fight this stress and fight this anxiety. On that note, I'm going to start taking questions. There are way too many of you. So I'm sure Gaurav is going to help us filter the questions so that I can take them.
Already a cue to begin with. But having said this, as I mentioned earlier, we have to take care of our doctor as well, which is Dr. Parekh. He's been into session back to back. So I will urge that I think he was before this as well in a session. So we really would not keep you for too long, I would say. We'll take a few pertinent questions. And friends, usually questions are repetitive in nature. If your question gets answered by someone else's question, fair enough. You can put your hand down in terms of that you got your answer, okay? Fundamental things, keep your question very precise, pointed, and I would say short. That will help. Okay, I would like to begin with a student. If there's a student who has a question, let's have a quick virtual show of hand, and then I'll help you unmute, and then you can ask your question. I'm assuming Anubhuti Shukla is a student. Anubhuti, please ask your question. Go ahead. And
sorry, sir. I'm not a student. I'm a teacher, actually. Sorry, I'll just put down my hand.
Student for life. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask, sir, that I have noticed during this time at my home, I generally feel very low during the evenings, like 4:30 and afterwards, like after 5 o'clock, I feel really low. I just don't know how to deal with that.
Some of us feel low towards the second part of the day because our productive engagements have become a bit lesser and we've started feeling more indoor kind of monotony getting into us. That's where social engagements and our creative interests and some recreational time will actually help us. But adding on to that, because somebody else might have a question to it, some people are also feeling this more towards morning. That when I get up, I don't feel good, and then gradually I start feeling better. That happens for those who not sure about how they intend to pass the next day. So that's why rhythm of life, the routine of life, that you don't have big chunks of time without having something where you know you'll be engaged to, so that the noise of negativity all around us does not get the better of us. That's the only way to look at it.
Let me try eliminating few questions. If you're not on the video, we won't let you ask the question, right? So that's the best way of eliminating question as well. Someone, Satbir you come on video, hence you get the opportunity. After that, Rita Fleming. Yeah, Satbir, your question, ma'am. And then Miss Fleming, your question. Satbir you'll have to unmute. Please go ahead and ask the question. Rita ji, please go ahead. Satbir ji must be, yeah. You'll have to unmute. Yeah.
All right. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Please go ahead.
I'm a teacher by profession, and I feel very helpless when I see so many of my students, they are grappling with the situation. They've lost their parents, and their misery, their problems get to us. How do we get them into the right frame of mind, the children and us? Thank you so much.
Not an easy question to answer, to be honest. I said this earlier also. There is no quick fix, and there is no tip, and there are no guides to grief. Grief has a lot of personal, individual experience to it. The right thing, the ethical thing, the socially correct thing, the genuine, humane thing, the connected, responsible thing to do is to actually be there. Don't expect people to switch on and off like we do with channels. Everybody needs time to deal with a loss in life. Just be there. They should not feel alone. Nobody should feel alone in difficult times, especially. And just be there.
Satbir ji, your question. Ms. Satbir Kaur, आप unmute कर पा रही हैं? नहीं. Swarchita.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Dr. Saab, it is observed during this pandemic, many strong people we consider near and dear ones has been shattered with a lot of distress. And it is very difficult to revive them back because they are strong by mind, but somehow due to certain reason during this pandemic, they have undergone a lot of distress. What way we as the near ones can help them out to come back to the normal life?
Ma'am, 2-3 points that immediately come to my mind. There are no strong people and there are no weak people. There are human beings who have different moments of vulnerability, and it also depends upon the kind of stress and the kind of support systems that a person has at a given cross section of life. So there may be people whom we would have perceived as not having the kind of strength in their self, doing a lot better during crisis, because we don't know which crisis, what support system, what personality interface it has. Second aspect is give people time to be back. I just feel that, this is that fast food, 2-minute food kind of a generation. And that's how we become that. You order something online and you will also see in how many days it is coming, and you will sometimes end up choosing something because it's coming earlier to you, something on those lines. And that's becoming a part of our expectations. We expect change to be instantaneous. We expect things to happen instantaneously. Be there, give space, give time. Don't push for a quick recovery into the original self as how you see it. And sometimes the original self will become different, yet better. We all go through our changes. All changes are not bad, but just give it time.
Thank you.
Lubhanshi.
Good morning, sir. Sir, actually, I am a NEET aspirant, and at the situation, according to me, it's very so much difficult. I can't express in words. It's very difficult for me to stay like study continuously what I used to do, and the environment is so like everyone is crying, and even though my family members, I have lost it. Some of the family members, I can't even tell that, and it's very hard to me to study a lot at this time. And 11th is also get wasted due to this lockdown only, and now 12th is also going. So it's very hard to me to study continuously and do what I deserve and what I can do. I can't able to do that. So what are ways to cope up with this situation? And
You're a neat aspirant, which is brilliant. So in these times when we see doctors going through the kind of pressures that they go through, when I see young people wanting to become doctors, inspiring in itself. You may not be able to relate to my feeling inspired to all these young people who want to take the medical entrance exam, but it's remarkable. That's one thing. But your 11th has not been wasted. No experience in life is wasted. You didn't happen to go to school, that doesn't mean that it got wasted. You've studied, and you don't need to continuously study 24/7. Nobody needs to do that. You study as much as you can do to the maximum satisfaction of your own level. This entrance exam that you are talking about, or any other you could have talked about, is your goal in life, your path to success. Success bhi aapka hai, path bhi aapka hai, methodology bhi aapki. Now you have to decide how much distraction and the noise of the world you will let affect your goal in life. So don't be distracted by these communications happening. 10th class students are struggling, 11th is struggling, 12th is struggling. Keep your goal right in front of you. Keep your goal right in front of you. Nothing else matters to you. Stay safe, stay positive, work hard.
Mahika.
Good evening, sir. I'm a student in grade 9th, and recently, like from a few months, I feel like I'm getting like really short-tempered. Like I just go off like at random things, and I don't want to be this short-tempered, but I just can't control it. I try to, but I end up making things worse with everyone. Like end up saying things I don't mean to. Thank you.
You know, it almost feels like you're talking about me at times. Certainly a younger version of me for sure. The older version of me is still short-tempered, but maybe the frequency has changed. But the younger me when I was your age, I was very similar. So some of the anger and frustration and irritability that you and some of people of your age are feeling is a very human reaction, to be honest. I mean, you are in an unideal situation now for a very, very long time. We all thought 15 din, 20 din, 25 din, and suddenly it's been a year and tough times. My thought is, see what your triggers are. See what are those triggers which are a little bit more consistent, and see if you can find the root and solve them. I do feel physical activity, breathing exercises, relaxation do work. I do feel talking to a lot of friends, which releases the angst that you experience, actually work. I do feel doing some creativity also works. But if you still are having an occasional outburst, I'm okay with it. But if you've had an outburst and you know you've not been fair or you've not been nice, own up to it. If you can own up to it and go to the individual, whoever you had lost your temper to, and say, sorry, would try better next time, I think that's good enough.
Ms. Arpana, your question.
Good evening, Mr. Gaurav, and good evening, Dr. Sameer Parekh. I am a principal in Ghaziabad, and I just would like to know how do we schedule our day and how do we organize our activities so that it reduces anxiety and stress for students and teachers while we teach or while we run our classes online?
I think the number of classes should be not very high. Based on the age group, the younger the children, the number should be lesser. I do feel between two sessions, there needs to be a break. I have no doubts in my mind about that. I don't think anything around 40-45 minutes for senior school, and beyond that, we should just take a break. That's one thing. I do feel that amongst the engagements that you do with students about studies, there needs to be something which is also addressing the here and now situation, which is asking them to talk about how things are, how they are coping, and bring relevance to the conversation, where they, so that they can identify this place as a safe space where they can also talk about their anxieties. We just don't give children enough space where they can talk about anxieties and distress, and keep reminding them about what role they can play so that it instills a sense of positivity. My take is that even though these are academic sessions, academics is not our only goal right now. It is maintaining positivity, calm, engaging, stimulation, peer engagement. All of this is all put together in that 45-50 minute of session. That's, I think, how I would look at it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anubaji, Miss Anuba Srivastava.
Thank you, Gauravji. Good evening, Dr. Parekh. I'm bringing to you one question on behalf of many of my students who have not been able to join, but they are sending questions to me through personal chats. So the children want to ask, how do we handle this situation when we are more into self-study mode, but we are unable to focus? We miss the classroom situation and we get distracted and there is not much motivation to study.
Study in spurts. I think that's most important. And if you are feeling absolutely off it and don't feel like doing it right now, frankly, don't study. You reapproach it after a few hours. But it's not possible that every time you sit to study, you'll be at the 100% of your game. It's not always possible. Sometimes recognizing that it's not working for me and taking a step back is also quite fine. But you make sure that you study in spurts. In between those spurts, you ensure you change where you are sitting, take a bit of a walk within the frame of your home, listen to a bit of music, talk to your friends. So you keep breaking that cycle and keep then adding short spurts of studies. We won't be able to, it's very similar to how you are on social media, aren't you? You take what I'm told, less than 2 seconds to decide whether you're going to stick on a story or not. So in spurts, everything in spurts.
Thank you so much.
Gulnar Kohli, your question.
Good evening, sir. My question is how to deal with unproductivity and the guilt of not studying the entire day. You don't feel motivated enough, either you feel it's just very hard to express. You just don't, our exams are postponed. We don't have a date sheet in front of us. We don't have a schedule in front of us. How can we deal with it? It's really overwhelming day by day. Thank you.
2-3 aspects. Not studying is not being unproductive. Productivity is beyond studies. So you supporting and helping your family is also a part of your productivity. So that's one thing. Second, you don't need a date sheet to study. Date sheet it's just a mark on the calendar. It could be any date. Third, you will not have all good days where you'll be able to study on all days. You will have some days you won't. Guilt is not going to solve any purpose. My suggestion, do a self-evaluation. If you've not studied well today, back yourself, push yourself to study better tomorrow. You had a good day, try and repeat it. If you don't, accept it, but keep pushing yourself to maintain a certain level of functioning. But don't allow yourself to be distracted by these conversations that because you don't have a date sheet, or because what if the exam gets cancelled, or because there might be a change. Why do you want to think about things which are not in your control? What is in your control to you beyond your control. That's life. What is in your control, do it. What is not in your control, accept.
Urvashi Begum.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, I've been suffering from COVID from some time. I'm still recovering, but the problem is that it's been a week or more. I've not been able to sleep at night. It is 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock sometimes. Neither do I get rest in the morning, nor I get it in the evening. I don't know why I'm so restless. I'm keeping myself very motivated because all my family got tested. Everybody got tested positive. So we were a little afraid. And of course, there is a lot of negative feeling. So I would like to ask Dr. Saab, how can I make myself a little, thank you.
So one, it's so natural to feel anxiety, especially when you know the illness has entered your home. So it's very human. And now that things may be settling a bit, like you are saying, that anxiety will start coming down on its own. But when it's anxious and you are having all the worst possible thoughts coming in and trickling in, it's impossible to switch off the mind, right? Very basic things you need to do. Let your sleep cycle come back to normal on its own. Even if you don't get sleep, keep your wake up time relatively fixed. Sometimes what happens is we stay in the bed so long that it makes the next night's sleep even more difficult. Don't take stimulants like caffeine. Some physical activity based on how your health is now, you should do. Breathing exercise, pranayama, you must do. Also, having a nighttime routine actually helps, which means, let's say next time I'll switch off all the gadgets. Then I will maybe take a hot shower or maybe take a hot green tea or chamomile, something like that. Or I'll have milk, then I'll go to the bed. I'll start reading till I fall asleep and listen to some light music. So I'll create a more relaxed atmosphere for myself and read till I fall asleep. If I read till I fall asleep, then the thoughts which are interfering with my mind and not letting me sleep will be substituted by reading. These are some of the basics, but give yourself time. Once your body recovers and once everybody fully recovers and there's a bit of a relief also, this will become fine. Absolute best wishes for you.
Arpita.
Good evening, sir. So I would like to ask you that when we are supposed to be positive for others, especially when you are at a responsible position, where people look up to you that you should be positive, but inside somewhere you yourself are feeling negative. How do we deal with that hopelessness, sir?
I don't think we can act positive if we are feeling negative. I don't think that's actually possible. I don't think emotions which are not genuinely expressed or thoughts which are not genuinely felt and expressed actually work. I truly don't believe that works. So my thought in this is, if you're having a day which is a tough one, you accept it. And you can very well express it. That, you know what, today when I'm struggling, so if any one of you has some positive cues for me, why don't you give them to me? And it'll take me a day, half a day or full day, and then I'll be back tomorrow with some more positivity. Accept that you are a human being.
Riya Yadav.
Sir, I want to ask that is it the immunity power of every age person is same, because every small and old age students and people are same dealing with the same situation this time?
Well, I am a mental health expert. You've asked me a more technical question, which is best answered by medical practitioners. So I won't try and answer this. And I will repeat a very important aspect that I have been saying. Only verifiable, credible resources to be heard from. So if I were to give you an answer right now, that will lack credibility, right? But ask this to your physician, ask this to your doctor from the medical expertise, and they'll be able to answer it. And I think that's the habit we should all get into. That there are there's nobody who knows everything. Everybody knows a very, very little bit, and that too in a little bit of area that they've studied a little bit. That's how you look at it.
Deepak Singh ji. Deepak Singh ji.
Yeah, good evening, Gaurav, and good evening, Dr. Sir. First of all, I really need to congratulate both of you for organizing such a wonderful event. It's really kind of connecting us and touching in a very empathetic way. My question to Dr. Saab is, you mentioned about such a beautiful movement of being there. I just wanted to ask how can you improve this quality of being there? Sometimes you can be, just be, be there physically, but how do you really kind of also be involved, kind of as a psychological and a spiritual support, sir?
So to me, be there is more about ensuring that the person feels that you are there. So I may not have talked to, let's say, a friend of mine for the past 2 days because let's say I'm not having time or something is bothering me or whatever. But I know my friends there, which gives me the comfort. And now if in time of need, I call them, they will answer, they will talk to me. That's the feeling of being there. So if you are an organizational leader, your team needs to feel that. If you are a friend, all your friends need to feel that. So be there is a feeling that should be generating in somebody else by your being there. And that's the way to be truly supportive.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Shwasti, go ahead.
I want to ask that my father is COVID positive now. We are telling him to be positive, stay motivated, but he's thinking negative only. He's thinking that I'm too sick and what will happen now. So what can we do to keep him positive? He's not even eating much. Thank you.
Not an easy one to answer, Vita, because there are two sides to it. An individual going through their struggle and their fears and also the physical distress can also take a toll on one's self. Just don't push, don't confront, don't get after something. Just be around. Let life around the individual go as normal in the difficult circumstances as it is possible. So if you are studying, go and sit next to him and study. If you're talking to a friend, stay around him and study. So the more of these stimuli coming in of life around us, right? Give hope, give positivity and optimism, rather than pushing someone ki ye kar lo, abhi ye kyun nahi kiya, do this. Just bring that aspect, but also give it time. Just each individual will take their own time to be able to respond.
Sumit. Dr. Saab,
Good evening, sir.
We'll take another few questions. We will obviously stick to our timeline. We'll close this at sharp 6 o'clock. Yeah. Sumit, beta, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. You'll have to unmute once again. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I am a student of Ingram Institute in Ghaziabad. Sir, I want your guidance that it is not easy to focus on studies at home as we get distracted by many things such as video games, etc. So what should I do, sir?
But when you were going to school, you were distracted because your friends were talking and you wanted to go on the playground. Now, when we are putting you at home, you are getting distracted by something else. Young man, distraction is natural for us because something or the other will always seem more exciting. But you know what? I'm not a big one for video games. I just feel it's way too much of time wasted in way too much of an unnecessary thing. And your creativity can express better. But having said that, if you enjoy it and if you're able to balance your time well, please feel free to enjoy in whichever way you want. But these distractions are here for life. So I may be 3, 4, 5, 6 times your age. And I also have a distraction. Right now, I have to make sure I just look here and speak. I don't notice the notifications coming here. I don't distracted by a call happening there. I don't get distracted by the clock. I don't distract. We all have to learn this throughout our life. You soch lo that we are preparing you to become my age one fine day, to tell others how to reduce distraction in an experiential way of how do you learn how to deal with these natural normal distractions. But study in spurts. That's a very effective, healthy way. Study in spurts. So if you study in spurts, which means during maximum concentration, maximum productivity, then you take a break, productivity and take a break. That's what will function. And thoda sa video game kam agar ho sake to it'll be nice.
Renu Singh ji.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Gaurav. Good evening, sir. Actually, my question is regarding my son. He is COVID positive right now, along with my husband. And I'll just take a time to explain you, like, he is 25 years old. He actually had some 2 or 3 jobs, but lost because of his this lockdown period and all. Now he recently got a new job, but the second day of his job, he was tested positive. Now he's at home taking rest. My just question is, why is he, or how can I help him to overcome that? Beta, never mind. Earlier you got sick, again now you got sick. That's nothing to do. You will be able to get your things back. Actually, he's little pulled down because of certain events in the past. Since past 1.5 years, he's been pulled down because of losing his job one after the other. So
a couple of things. I would still like to first get out of the entire COVID yes, first, which means right now our goal should be to take care of his health, to ensure that we are able to take care of what matters right now. Once that has happened, then, and once he's healthy and back, he starts looking for jobs, keeps doing that. When he shares about his experiences, remind him that this was not because of him. It's not an individualistic error or failure. It was completely external, unrelated to him. He's studied himself, he's got himself degrees, he has the abilities. All that happened because he has worked hard. So he backs himself, but it is human sometimes to be rattled when you have a cluster of bad experiences. But if the consistency of experience of people around and consistency of support of people around stays, eventually he'll be able to understand. But right now, please focus on his health and everything else can come.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Vanshika. Vanshika. If not Vanshika, then we go to...
Yes. No, sir, it's me.
Go ahead, Vanshika.
Yes, Peter.
Sir, actually, I'm a student of commerce and I've just passed my 11th and I'm facing problems with the studies. Actually, everything is online nowadays. If we are attending school classes, either our tuition classes, and if we are getting even the materials of studies, so it's through mobiles or laptops. So it's causing a lot of distress even on our eyes and also on our mind. Just everything's on just a small screen. So how can we deal with that?
No, better we accept it. It is not an ideal situation. Nobody wants to be in this situation. Neither do your teachers. Nobody wants to be in this situation. We are all doing this so that there is continuity of life maintained in these exceptionally difficult times. And we are all waiting for a time where you will all collectively make so much noise in the classroom that the principal will have to come up and say, okay, can you please make less noise? And we are all waiting for that noise, aren't we? Till then, the best is to study at home. Till then, the best is to let the digital exposure happen. I don't think we have a choice. Like I said, past several years, I've been promoting digital detox. Right now, I'm promoting digital engagement. Let's stay engaged. I'd rather have you talk and do something than sit by yourself and worry. Don't want you to worry.
And Vanshika, to compound it all, this session was also online, by the way.
Yes.
Daksh Yadav, but you got your solution in this session only via digital means. Yeah, you should keep that in mind. Daksh Yadav.
Yes, sir.
आपका क्वेश्चन अगर कोई है आगे बढ़े.
Yes, sir. I want to ask a question that how to motivate person during this pandemic of COVID-19.
You realize the fact that COVID is a short-term experience for mankind's history, which basically means this is a cross-section in our life. It's not a longitudinal axis. It may seem like one, but it isn't one, which means in a few weeks, months, we don't know when, but things will be fine. When things will be fine, you don't want at that time to feel, oh, I should have done something at that time. You presume that things will be fine tomorrow morning and keep working like tomorrow is going to be a non-COVID day. And that's the only way to keep motivating ourselves, that tomorrow will be a non-COVID day. Let's put my best today.
Completely out of time. And as I mentioned to Dr. Saab earlier, that I will not really take him beyond 6 o'clock. Shaurya Jaiswal, Shivang, Khushi Gupta, Hemlata, Laksh, and everyone else who was left out, my apologies, but as I mentioned to you, that we also have another sessions lined up. So please join in those sessions and maybe we will answer your question then, right? And apart from that, I think Dr. Saab and his team is very much approachable on the social media as well. If you guys can directly reach out to him if your questions are very important and you were not able to cover today. But honestly, just to keep the sanctity of the time and the protocol, I would like to call it a day. Thank you, Dr. Saab. Once again, pleasure is always ours, as I said, and I can see faces which are now feeling relieved. I'm getting messages also, and they are all saying it's a fantastic session. And more than that, as I keep saying this, that Dr. Saab is a very good human being, and that reflects in his demeanor for that matter, that comes out in his profession, and which means that it's always a pleasure. And having said this, everyone who is here, we are doing this as a complete 1 month long exercise with Dr. Saab and his team. Next session is on the 8th. We will obviously send you the details. If you wish to join that as well, please join in. And the expert from his team will be part of that session. Thank you, Dr. Saab. Take care, stay safe, and take rest. Much deserved rest, I would say. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone. Stay safe.